political complexion, or indeed the actual complexion of Barack Obama, is not going to be a defense against their anti-Americanism anymore.
You know, when you were last on the program, you put so much emphasis. You looked in the camera and you said, if you only remember one thing from this interview, please remember, do not follow us down the road of socialism. Do not nationalize your health care. And we got more mail, more responses, more people, I think, getting it. You know, for many, many years, for example, I have focused on the papers in Great Britain and in Canada and in France talking about the inefficiency and the lack of quality care that exists under that system. Can you explain with some specificity why you are giving such a dire warning to the people of the United States?
Because you're our friends, and if you see a friend about to make a terrible mistake, you try and warn him. And we've lived through this mistake. We've lived through this mistake for 60 years now. It began with the best of intentions. It began because people thought it was wrong for those who weren't well off and couldn't afford the best health care to be treated differently, and everyone felt, well, it's kind of a nice togetherness, kind of solidarity thing if we all take part in this experiment. But the reality is, it hasn't worked. It has made people iller. We spend a lot of money and we get very bad results. You look at survival rates for cancer or heart disease, we are well down on all the leagues. We have very few doctors. We disincentivize people from practicing medicine in this country. A lot of our best and brightest doctors emigrate. A lot of them go to North America because there's no market. There's nothing that helps them. And of course, the government for a long time would always say, well, we can just make this work a little bit more if we spend more. So the current government has almost increased by about 80% spending on healthcare. But of course, as long as you have a socialist system, no amount of extra spending is going to rescue it. And so there was an absolutely neat example of the unplanned consequences of socialism. The government decreed centrally that all general practitioners were going to get a big pay rise. Well, doctors are human beings. They understandably started working shorter hours. Yeah. So the effect of this massive injection of government cash wasn't just to be useless, it actually made it worse.
I read the Daily Mail. The National Health Services, your nationalized health care, has a government rationing body, and they just determined that women with advanced breast cancer were not going to get medicine because it was too expensive. And that was just in the last,
That's right.
That was just in the last 2 weeks. So let me ask final question. Do you, as a more conservative thinking individual in Great Britain warning America, do you see America's now on the path going down that socialism road that you've gone down? Is there any way we can stop that?
Well, I mean, you're way in a better position than us. You're not starting from where we are. And you've got a dispersal of power. I mean, this is a great thing that that your country has, that because you've got states' rights, you've got 50 different jurisdictions, you've got the capacity to experiment, and something that is going wrong in one place, the others learn from, something that's going right, the others can copy. We don't have that. When we make a mistake, we stick with it. And, you know, this has been the case with healthcare. You can't get rid of it because so many people now getting their living out of it. You know, it's the biggest employer in the world after the Chinese Red Army. So it's a very difficult thing for a British government to get rid of. Do I see you going down that road? Well, look, I am worried about the spending. I'm worried about the stimulus and the pork barrel, which began under the previous administration, has speeded up under this one. There's people in both parties who have been doing it. We're doing it worse, but that isn't a good enough reason for you guys to be doing it. Well, you know, and this thing, it's been, I don't know, maybe Fox is going to restore a little bit of sanity into the debate here. But I've got to say, in the UK, where we've been covering this G20 summit very intensely, all of the coverage has been how wonderful, we've saved everything because we've injected $1 trillion, we've pumped $1 trillion into the world economy. Yeah, from where? Like how do you get $1 trillion except from the world economy, you know, to put it at its widest, you know? So all we've done is taken money that would have been spent by individuals and given it to great international global institutions to spend for us.
Daniel, I'm hoping one day I get to introduce you as Mr. Prime Minister. Thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, John.